Anyway, hi everyone, and welcome to episode 22 of Tales of Edeah, Globelization, which is just such a fun title, even though everybody here hates it. And I just realized I didn't arrange you guys yet in the right order, so I'm just going to do that real quick before we do the intro. Because Tony goes there, then I go there. Nope, I got you guys the wrong way around. Genius.
Yeah, you fix it by making everybody not fit.
No, it's different when you drag people around. There we go. Perfect. Alright. Well then, without further ado, let's see how you die. Laboratory 1 in the Tower of Danos. Day unknown. Month unknown. Year unknown. But first, somewhere in the thick brush of the trees of this strange island wanders the lazy form of a bear. She saunters along to a nearby stream and sits down beside it, watching the sparkling waters filled with fish rush by. How pretty they are. She can hardly remember what life had been like when she had hunted for her survival. She couldn't imagine it now, having energy to wade into the stream and get one for herself, and yet not needing to. A little does she still remember, because she also had to hunt to feed her child. Where had that little one gone? Oh, she supposes, it doesn't matter. He's all right. He is all right, isn't he? And then something stirs inside of her, and she blinks at the fish in the stream. She can feel a distant sensation of hunger, overwhelming hunger. Fear, too. Although it is as if her fear is underwater, and she is staring at it, but she lacks the will to go and catch it. But her child, that one seems to break through the surface of the water sometimes. He's struggling for air. Shouldn't she be helping him? She raises herself from her haunches, unsure. She has to go and find him. She has to. And there it is again. The calm, enveloping mist. She does have somewhere to be. But not her child. She has to go to the tower. And in the distance it rises above the mist. And somewhere inside of that tower, the Ashenhearts regroup from a harrowing fight. Bruised and bloodied, they catch their breath in the small confines of Laboratory 1. There you are joined by Felix, the wizard's former familiar, and Kiralos, the tower's constructed steward, that is, humanoid only in shape. In the lab itself, you find only one thing of interest. 4 orbs, one of which has already shattered, which seem to contain different landscapes. One is underwater, another one seems to be covered in a perpetual snowstorm, and a third hides a building amidst a lush jungle forest. And there, as they recover, we will join the Ashenhearts. As you have a moment, what would you like to do? Stare at each other in silence? That works.
Um, so
mean,
we are in laboratory 1.
we are. We're also safe from the security if we need to take a rest.
There's a slight awkward, not quite a cough, but like an imitation of a cough from Kiralos. And it just turns and points to the other corner where there's another security sigil that is currently dormant, but it is there. You have some time.
How much time do you think we have?
Uncertain. The tower is still reassessing. But this laboratory is not the highest priority. There's a security alert. The ones that are after you will need to report back first. I suspect you have 20 minutes.
Mhm.
I disassociated when you were recapping. Do we know which orb?
I believe, I'm not sure if it was actually pointed out, but even if it wasn't, Kyrillos will actually hover over to the green one and briefly, not really point at it, but just kind of hold out a hand towards it. And this is where the lady disappeared. Those of us bound to the tower cannot venture inside.
A lot of the other ones.
I'm not permitted to say.
Okay. And why is that one broken then?
There's a longer pause than usual before Kyrillos says, "The lady destroyed it."
Okay. Felix? Are you permitted to say what the other ones? Where they lead?
Permitted, sure. Not too familiar. This was all a bit above my station, but as far as I know, they're supposed to be a lot bigger on the inside. That's what the master was working on. That's all I know. I've been inside once. It's not very pleasant. Everything you see is actually there, including the snowstorm.
Mm.
And can the guards enter this place?
Both of them respond. Felix with the usual kind of bored emotion in his voice, and Kyrillos completely neutral, but they both say no.
Okay. May I look closely into the one where that was pointed out to us, just to try and see
Sure.
what else is in there?
Sure, make a perception check.
Can I assist with that? Sort of looking from like another angle.
You can make your own perception check.
Okay, that works too.
But yeah, I've actually been reading up a bit on assist and help and stuff, and I may be slightly stricter in what is able to be assisted with, just because some things are a bit harder to imagine. But nothing that should hurt you guys too much.
20 total.
Yeah,
20.
I got a 13.
Okay, so Myra, you have a peek inside. Both of you get a glance at the trees. They are not native to the part of the world that you guys are from, so they look quite unfamiliar. But overall, it just seems to be like a forest clearing with one single path that runs through it into nowhere in particular. Barnack with a 20. Let me see, actually. Yeah, with a 20, the building itself is completely still. There's nothing that moves in or out. It seems fairly large from what you can tell. In fact, you might think it to be an inn of some kind. But you also spot in the foliage around it a small black figure that is moving and hiding, it seems, from the inn. And it's kind of circling around as you watch it.
Right, so there's someone inside.
What to say? How do we get back out?
Kyrillos just says, "I'm not permitted to provide that information," and Felix, kind of annoyed, chimes in. Every single one of them has a doorway, a pathway that leads back out. You can get in, just put your hand on it, and envision yourself stepping inside, and then you have to find the doorway to get out. There's a pause as everyone's kind of thinking, And Felix suddenly moves closer to the orb you guys are inspecting, and kind of has a sniff a little bit. And from Felix's sniffing, kind of sniffs around the base, and you guys see there's a small layer of crusted over grime of some kind, like translucent, but not a natural substance that is not present either on any of the other orbs. As if something had dripped some kind of liquid on top of it and then let it kind of gather around the orb's base.
Okay. Are we going inside then?
Might be your best bet.
I don't think we have a choice.
Okay, that's 2. Danny? That's 3. JJ?
He doesn't respond at first. I don't know if
Yeah. JJ?
you guys are all looking at the ball, right?
I turn to JJ. JJ?
Yeah, so JJ's right next to the glyph that they entered in, and he's just leaning against the wall, his forehead right to the wall, with one hand holding on the wall, and he seems like he's just, his eyes are closed and he's not registering Barnack's voice.
JJ, are you okay? I'll tug on his shirt.
Felix lands on your shoulder, Barnack, and just kind of watches from your shoulder, like a parrot almost.
Yeah, and as you do, JJ just moves very quickly, quicker than you've seen before, and he just draws a sword from his side and out, almost frantically looking at you, but his facial expression changes, and immediately as he recognizes Barnack, he was deep in thought, was just startled. Says, "I."
Wait, why are you doing my voice? Listen, are you okay?
Yes, I'm fine.
What
What do you mean I'm doing your voice?
I'll turn to Myra and say, can you fix him?
I'll just kind of go over to JJ, start looking over his head for injuries.
Just kind of looks at you. I'm totally fine. I've always talked like this. What do you mean
Look,
I'm using your voice?
I'll stand next to him and try to see who's taller, even though I know he's taller. A long shot.
Yeah, well, same height as he always was.
Something's wrong.
Barnack, you taught me how to speak like you.
I did.
Aye,
Right.
don't you remember?
No, can you?
On the Siren's
can you-
Veil.
I don't remember anything like that, right?
I don't think so, no.
Right. What else did I teach you?
Well, you told me not to get drunk like you ever, because even though I can maybe talk like you, I can't drink like you.
I'm a good teacher then. Okay. It's a good lesson to have.
What's this all about?
No, nothing. Nothing. Nothing.
Are we going inside, or?
Yeah, but I was going to ask, does anyone need any healing or something? Because I'm kind of tapped out a bit.
If we can get inside and take a rest, where it's maybe safer, possibly. If I heal us up here, if we do get into a fight out there, I'm gonna have nothing.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I was going to ask Kirilos though, but that's a good idea.
Yeah, unless Kirlos has another med kit.
Kirilos briefly pauses and then has empty hands. So put all that stuff away again.
Then we took. I feel like we took some potions, right? And some extra healing.
You
kits.
took one potion, I believe.
I took 1 potion and already used it.
Well, maybe if we go inside and then take a short little while to heal up.
Catch a breather.
Mm.
Well, I'll still turn to, like, every single time you start speaking, I'll turn to you and... Yeah. And then I'll go to Tani and say, Tani, do you know what's happening? Why is he talking like me? Is he also an ambassador?
Well, during the fight, he changed his fighting ways. But I don't know if that's... I don't know.
Right, he also changed his appearance.
And you know when he's acting like a half elf, like in those formal things, he has another accent. So might be that he's playing around, or
Let's check. Hey Jean-Jacques, can I hold on to... Wait, do I know that he actually has the thing now? Do we know that, right? We do.
You guys all know. I believe he
Yeah.
showed everybody.
Yeah,
you
you did. Yeah,
confessed,
so,
yeah.
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 So, do you mind me holding on to the apple?
Kind of looks around. Are we still doing that then? Calling it the apple?
I mean, I'll turn I'll turn to Jean-Jacques, but basically like just glance at Kyrillos and Felix. I mean, we're not alone.
Right. I kind of do mind. I mean, I use it now and
Right.
kind of
You do know
real
that
helpful.
it's there. Yeah, you know it's there.
What's gotten into you?
I drank too much.
We talked about it, Varnak. Don't drink on the job. Jesus
had to.
fucking Christ. Says, I guess
turn-
he wouldn't change his fucking Christ. He said, like, Magdy's beard.
Yeah. I'll just turn around and say, okay. This is too much for me. Let's go.
I think we need some rest.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I
Alright.
tag along? Felix asks as he sits on your shoulder, Barnack.
Sure. I'll try to protect you, but you said you wouldn't be able to jump in because you're the part of the tower, right?
Oh, I'm not bound to the tower. He is, and the
Oh,
rest
he is.
are.
Okay. Okay, then yeah.
I'm independent. Contractor, you might
By
say.
all means.
As they're talking, JJ does approach the globe, and he's just kind of expecting the magical runes and circuitry around it, just to kind of
Okay.
get a feel for it.
Is there anything in particular that you want to figure out?
I would like to see if there are any adverse effects that are immediately obvious to touching the thing, like if there are any warding runes or anything that might, interfere with us interacting with the object.
Okay, make a Arcana check.
19.
Okay. You don't spot anything immediately dangerous, although maybe a small part in the back of your brain nags at you and says if you hadn't changed, then you would understand this much better. This is definitely an arcane construct, essentially a machine that's been created, and it is complex to a measure that you are not familiar with, and in fact that's not common even in Postizia. This is craftsmanship of the highest order, but nothing immediately dangerous that you can tell.
I don't think. Oh. I don't think it will eat us alive or anything. So, just go ahead.
Sure. Then all of you follow me.
Place the hand on it.
Okay.
Okay. So you place a hand on it. Nothing immediately happens. But you do recall that Felix said you have to kind of imagine yourself walking into it.
Oh, right. And I do that.
Okay. So you guys see sort of a shimmering ghost of Jean-Jacques take a step forward into essentially the table and then shrinking, and his whole body follows. And moments later, you all see the figure of Jean-Jacques step onto the road that's inside of the orb. And of course, we'll get to Jean-Jacques in a moment, but what do the rest of you do?
Okay. So now if we break the orb, does he die?
I don't know.
And I'll just touch the orb and do the same. Nah, never
Okay.
killed Jean-Jacques.
So, same thing. Barnack gets shrunken and then steps out behind Jean-Jacques onto the road. Felix will follow right away and then flutter onto Barnack's shoulder. And I assume that the other two follow suit as well.
Yeah.
Alright. One moment. Allow me to move you guys to the correct place. And I need to drag Felix out here as well. So, you find yourselves on a jungle road. The air around you immediately increases in temperature to be suitable for this climate. And overhead, there is a mighty sun and clear blue skies. And behind you, the path just stretches on and then turns a corner. And ahead of you, the same thing. There's no indication at all that you are inside any sort of orb of any kind. However, as soon as anyone reaches out or tries to feel that way, you do feel the physical barrier of glass that's simply not visible, but there's just literally an invisible wall that prevents you from moving through it.
And we're already this close to the structure.
Yep. This is pretty much this is pretty much where you were deposited. There's a bit more room on the left side where it stretches out into the forest, but as far as you can tell, and could tell also from above, like Barnack tried, there was nothing of particular interest there. So you can either try to get away from the structure a bit if you wanted to rest first, or you can try to go in right away.
Can I know where I've spotted the black? You called it a no, it wasn't a shadow. You said
A figure, just a
a
figure.
figure, right? A figure.
You saw it move like throughout your conversation just now, and you could glance down at the orb as well. You saw it just move around the structure, but eventually did lose track of it. Like it was something you really had to kind of look very closely in order to keep track of, and you suspect it has moved from the last location where you saw it, which was essentially like to the north of the structure.
Okay. Well, I guess we need to rest a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Let's find a good tree to rest next to or something.
Just find 10 by 10. Well, Jesus, I can't. My accents are all over the place. Figures. A 10 by 10 place. A clearing of sorts.
Okay. Sure. I guess 10 by 10
mean,
clearing.
You're the ranger, Barnack, so it'd be up
Yeah,
to you.
no, I'm just. You never asked me to find a 10 by 10 clearing before. It's fine. I'll be finding a 10 by 10 clearing then, and I'll go around and start searching for
Okay.
a 10 by 10 clearing.
Okay. In the meantime, Felix remains on Barnack's shoulder, but stares at Jean-Jacques, like very interested in whatever is going on with that man.
Shedra kind of like checks out his clothes and makes sure, like, oh right, there's some scorch marks here, and just brushes it off.
Yeah. Okay.
Searching, I'll kind of like look around a little bit, but I'll pass by Tani and be like, well, Jean-Jacques acting very, very strange.
Looks like he's back to his normal JJ-iness.
Was normal for him?
No, I mean, right now he's acting normal, but before the globe, yeah, that hadn't happened before.
Yeah, I don't know if I trust whatever's happening or whatever he did in the engine room.
Okay. While you guys are speculating, and Barnack has been searching, it's not very difficult. In fact, you probably find yourself hitting the orb's edge pretty soon, but there are multiple clearings. None of them are out of sight of the building. All of them are still within about, let's say, 50 to 60 feet of the building itself. But you do find multiple clearings in which you could comfortably have a 10 by 10 space, if you wish.
Okay. Okay, I'll turn to Jean-Jacques and stand about like 20, 30 feet like away from him, and I'll show him like,
I approach him.
why didn't you use the spell that you always use, the message one?
Oh, right. Okay. And I cast message and I put it in. What you want to talk about?
I found the clearing.
Cast it again. Like, right. Okay. And he turns around and produces from the pocket, the inside pocket of his robes, a very kind of beautifully wound book, completely dark, like black in leather book with some engravings on it. And there's at the very center of it, there's just a and what's the name of it when it's like protrudes a bit from the cover? It's not an engraving, but the opposite of an engraving. Embossed, I guess. Yeah, let's call it. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
There's just a closed palm hand, and he opens it up and then begins like reading from it and casting a spell, and it will take me 11 minutes, and I will cast Liamun's Tiny Hut.
So yeah, as Jean-Jacques is busy, I would imagine it's probably a bit like walking around the clearing and you're slowly weaving it into existence. So you guys watch as he's busy, slowly out of nothing, this hut begins to appear around him. And as he's busy, you guys can also do your own things. Is there anything the rest of you would like to do?
I want to like stand on the other side of the like pathway from the building and just try to look in.
Okay.
I don't want to get too close, but
make a perception check. And feel free to ping the actual window that you're trying to use.
If that's the window, I'll use that one.
Like most of the windows have like little parts sticking out to indicate that they're windows.
Fine, it's probably closed. That's what I'm gonna guess, because that was the one.
No, the most of them actually do seem to be opened, and it seems to be, from what you can tell, it seems to be being taken care of. It's not like the building is falling apart or anything. Someone probably opened the windows at some point. What was your perception check?
Oh, natural 1 for a 9.
Nice.
That's what I said. It's probably just closed.
Right.
Yeah.
No, actually, just looking inside, there's just nothing to see. You see, so there's some like relatively heavier curtains that are being blown inside slightly by the wind. And you get a glimpse, but all you see is a wooden floor and the outpost of a bed that is set in the corner, but doesn't seem particularly interesting to any particular degree. So I'll just reveal like so. There you go.
Danny, let's scout the perimeter. Let's go around the building. You go one side, I'll go the other, and let's meet up on the other side. But let's try to not get too close to the building.
Okay, and as I walk and turn away, anybody that is seeing me, I'm like rubbing at a place, and I'm like, did I break something? Okay. And start walking.
Okay.
Barnard just completely gets confused by 2 party members currently, so he's like, oh boy, and just leaves.
Okay, so you guys start to scout around the perimeter. Do you want to stealth as you do so?
I would, yes.
Yeah.
Alright, so go ahead and roll stealth rolls first.
That's good. This is very good.
Ooh.
Wow.
That is...
19? So that's 25 for me.
Nice.
23 for me.
Very nice. All right. And then I would like you both to roll perceptions.
That's worse.
19.
19.
17 in total.
Okay. I will say, Tani, as you are creeping around the right side of the building from our perspective, and you start to head up, you're the first to notice something, but it's not inside of the building. Inside seems entirely calm for both of you. You don't hear anything. You don't hear any voices or moving doors or anything that could indicate there's anyone alive in there. But, Tani, as you head up on the right side, maybe 20 feet ahead of you, you hear something moving through the jungle underbrush. Something kind of trying to be stealthy, but not being quite as stealthy as you or Barnack are able to be. And you catch a glimpse of black metal plate, like an actual just flat plating, and it steps forward into what seems to be a leg of a bear, and you see a mechanical bear slowly prowling around the outside, and it has not caught sight of you, but it's just kind of prowling around, slowly moving so that its joints don't make any noise, and it is carrying in its mouth like this backpack similar to what you guys carry, adventurers backpacks. It's carrying that, and it's just kind of prowling around the building. What would you like to do?
I'll stay hidden, I'll do nothing, and I'll continue and until I join back to Barnack.
Okay. I mean, it's easy enough. You know, you guys are kind of going into a perimeter search, so you can avoid the creature's attention completely, and you manage to make it to meet with Barnack on the other side of the building, at the top.
Barnack, did you see anything? 'Cause I did.
I don't believe so. I was looking, but I didn't see it.
I saw a
wasn't-
mechanical bear
A
moving
mechanical-
around, and it
Oh.
had
Wait. A mechanical.
yeah, it was like black metal. Mechanical.
Of course, it's mechanical bear in this tower. I wouldn't.
And it had some like, and I described that he has backpack in his mouth and
Yeah.
and was prowling around over that area and all that. He didn't see me.
Did it look like it had any intent?
He was just prowling around like.
You both hear the crunching of small twigs and leaves underneath a heavy foot, and without being spotted yourselves, you watch maybe 10 feet away from you as it prowls back up, essentially in the same perimeter that Tani was taking, but a little wider.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just like that. Just like that.
Yeah. Okay. I don't speak bear. Do you speak bear?
Mm-mm. Maybe it speaks common?
Felix, do you speak bear?
No.
Okay. Well, yeah, maybe it speaks common. Yeah, let's say hi and then run back to the thing that JJ is doing, because I'm pretty sure he can deal with mechanical bears if we need to.
Yeah, I mean, he has the apple,
Yeah, exactly.
and that's mechanical.
That's also mechanical, exactly. Maybe he speaks bear because of that.
He's moving on. Felix mutters in your, between the two of you, and the bear is just it's already 20 feet away.
Let's catch that. Let's catch up to it and say hi.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll stalk towards it and try to get as close as we can without first provoking it, and then.
Well, with how successful you guys have been, you can essentially walk up behind it and tap it on its back if you wish. So, when do you reveal yourself?
Thank you for that, but no. No. I'm a ranger, so I wouldn't do that. So, what I will do is, oh, this is going to be stupid, but hey, it worked in the past.
Is it
So
gonna be more or less stupid than sneaking up to a bear and touching it?
both. So it is, yeah. I will I will turn to Tani and say, okay, Tani, I will now speak with the bear, and I will start speaking bear as well. So I'll tap myself and cast speak with animals, and then I'll actually speak bear to the bear.
Okay. The moment you open your mouth and make a sound that it can hear, it stops and then takes a defensive posture as it turns around towards you, kind of backing up a little bit.
Yeah, I'll
And as you get a better look at it now, you see that in some places it's actually been scratched somewhat. Not recently, but just like a sort of wear and tear of this creature existing. And it backs up a little bit, and it tilts its head somewhat to the side. It's not the most friendly looking creature, you know. A bear, in the right circumstances, can still look fairly cute. This one does not. It is like very abrupt plating that imitates the shape of a bear, but it lacks the softer features of, you know, it has no fur, it has no beady eyes. It just has like two small slits in the metal through which it regards you. It does not give a reply.
I'll say in common, Tani, I've just remembered if a bear charges you, you should play dead. And then I'll again speak in bear, and I'll say, hello, bear.
It just backs up a little further, and it tilts its head a little further to the side. I will give you an insight check, but at disadvantage if you like. Both of you can make one.
I'll also tell Tani at that moment, but I'll say it in, let's say, clearly enough so that it hears me as well, and say, Tani, I don't think it understands bear. I don't think it speaks bear. That's a 10 on the lower one, plus second insight, you said.
Mm-hmm.
That's 12 in total.
12 in
Wow.
total. Okay.
20 and at disadvantage.
Wow. Okay. I will write something to you, Tani, real quick.
Okay, and well, yeah, I'll put my hands a little bit like in front of me and crouch down to maybe Barnack's size, and wince a little bit as I do so, and grab up my rib area.
Okay. I sent you a message. As Barnack speaks to Tani in common, loud enough for it to hear, it does stop backing up, and it tilts its head the other way. But it's very cautious, and you see it briefly glance between the two of you towards the building. Then it looks around as if to check that there's nothing there, and then it focuses back on the two of you.
I whisper, I think it might understand common. Then try speaking again.
Oh, well, I said this in bear, but here it is in common. Hello. Rather, I said hello, bear, but...
Make a persuasion check. But you can use your wisdom instead of your charisma.
That's great, though. Hold on. That's a natural 18, just a second.
Okay.
Wisdom, you say, then that's 20 total.
Okay. As you say hello, it inspects you very closely for a good 5 to 10 seconds. And then it takes one step forward, stops, goes up on its hind legs, creaking very slightly, raises one paw, and waves. Very, like, basically. And then it goes back on all four.
Yeah, I wave back as well and say, since you understand us, would you like to come back to where we are and then talk to someone who might actually be able to talk to you or something? Maybe you could speak back? Are you the lady of the... Yeah, you cannot answer. Why am I asking?
You just ask like 3 different questions, and it
Yeah.
just ponders for a moment, then like kind of crouches down with its front legs, and then puts both of its paws over its face, and waits for a moment, and then pulls back. But rather than being like an actual natural animal movement, it seems it's like making a signal specifically for you, that you obviously don't have any way to interpret right now, but it's definitely trying to send you a signal. And then it goes back up on all fours.
I think it's telling us like roof under the head, so like maybe it wants to go inside. Do you want to go inside?
It looks between you and the building. It looks back to you, and it goes again. And it covers its eyes for a moment before going back up on all fours.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Perfect. If you understand me, I have a friend who can send a message to you, and you might be able to respond. Do you want to come back to our camp so that he does it?
There's just a pause as it regards you, and then it like lowers its head slightly and steps to the side, and then looks to the path left and right and waits.
Tani, let's go to back to camp, and maybe JJ will be able to speak with whoever this is. And then I'll kind of whisper to Tani, I really want to ride a bear once. Mechanical one would be amazing. Okay, let's follow us. Don't worry about it. Just follow us. We also have food. I don't know if you've eaten anything.
Okay.
So,
When our friends are friendly, like us,
yeah.
they won't. Yeah.
Okay, so as you guys begin to walk, how close are you staying to the building?
As far as for something like, I don't want anything to notice us that much.
Okay.
That's why I said as wide as we could.
So I will say that probably as you guys are rounding the corner and you have even just a chance of getting too close, the bear following you moves up beside you. It doesn't make any particular rush, it just moves up beside you, and as it feels that you get even just a little bit too close, you feel the heavy metal head push against your side and just gently nudge you further away from the building.
Oh, thank you. We should be probably very careful about that. Let's move further away.
So with a black metallic bear in tow, you arrive back at the campsite where Jean-Jacques is just finishing up creating the tiny hut. Before we continue, Chancey, is there anything that Myra wanted to do in those 11 minutes?
No, I'm probably just talking to Jean-Jacques. You know, they're scouting out. Wonder what kind of creatures are here. Hopefully they don't get into any trouble.
I mean, they're certainly going to get in trouble. They always do. One of them's going to say that, let's take a closer look at a creature, and then they're going to go and touch the creature, and then it's going to attack them, and then we're going to have to rush over, and I'm going to lose all this work. But, you know.
They know us so well.
It's their charm.
Yeah.
Are you feeling all right? You got a little bit of a banging?
Yeah. Never say that word like that again.
Oh, Myra, you've got such a dirty mind. I
just don't like how you said it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'm pretty hurt. I'm out of a lot of my power.
Yeah, I'm not doing well there myself.
Sleep.
Well, this is going to be up for about 8 hours, so we could, in theory, rest up in there, but I'm not sure what might be in the area.
So,
I'll just keep like watch out towards
Yeah.
the building, but like stay in that area to make sure nothing
okay.
comes up and bothers us.
Then make one more perception check for the building as you're waiting for the other two to rejoin you.
Oh, that's better. 22.
22. I will send you a message on Discord as the other two arrive back. This is something that you'll have seen.
I see the bear. I'm just gonna like go for my weapons. Like what the bear? Why?
The bear itself stays outside of the clearing immediately and just kind of pauses cautiously as it regards the rest of you.
Myra, no.
Don't freak out. Don't freak
don't
out.
freak out. We have a new friend. And it's
a bear. Mm-hmm.
But
Bears have fur.
this one has metal. But this one
Hold
doesn't
yourself.
speak bear. This one speaks common.
Understands.
Understands common. So, JJ, can you send a message to the bear?
So I don't think you got. Did JJ finish the spell as they arrived, or right before they arrived?
I would say probably right before they arrived.
Right. So they don't actually see JJ; they just see an opaque dome that's sort of the color of the forest around them. So greens and browns.
True.
Myra's probably inside the dome and is talking as if there's no barrier.
Yeah.
And we don't hear you inside. We don't hear.
No, you can hear. Yeah, sound extends through the dome.
Oh, okay.
You just can't see
Yeah,
us.
I'll post it in the chat so everybody can see. But yeah.
So JJ can. Okay, we have a bear
Why?
because it understands us. It understands us, and it's a metal bear.
And it's not violent. He's friendly.
It's not violent.
Right. Because bears weren't scary enough when they were flesh and blood. Now, there's a mechanical one.
Yeah, but remember what we're searching for. Or who?
Right.
Maybe the bear has seen them.
Right. Okay. Well, I can't leave. Nor can I cast my spells through it, so I'll have to let the bear come inside.
Yeah.
Alright, I get...
I
Okay.
mean, it could have killed us, the two of us. Now, when it's four of us, I don't think it will be able.
How large is the bear, Kevin?
It's about Barnack sized.
Okay, so it's not large.
No, it is a medium sized creature.
Okay, well, I will allow the bear to come inside.
Okay. It does not move. It's just sitting on the edge of the clearing, watching the
right.
tent, the hut.
So, I don't know your name. I'll just call you Bear. So far, so Bear. This area is safe area. At least that's what my friend says. So it's like where we can take a rest or whatever, and no one can get to us. So, wanna join? We can try to talk inside.
It briefly, it does stand up and takes a step forward. Where maybe a normal bear might sniff the air, for example, it just observes for a good 10 seconds. And then it looks around, it fully turns around, in fact, towards where through the trees you can see the building. And it just kind of dips its head for a moment, and then it turns around back, and it starts to saunter into the hut, pushing through, and it plants itself as far away from all the others as possible, still carrying the sack that it was carrying before.
Oh right, this one has a backpack. That's why we brought it back.
Yeah, it seems smart.
Right. Seems to me that you just thought of that excuse as you saw the backpack. had nothing to do with why you actually went and got it?
Not listening.
Never mind. So you wanted me to talk to it, yeah?
Yeah.
All right. I'll point a finger at the bear and I'll cast message.
Okay.
And I'll just say, can you hear me, pup?
You don't get a message back, but there is something on the other side that receives yours. So it definitely seems to hear you, but it does not have the capacity to provide anything in return.
I'll relay as much to the group.
Darn it.
Don't think this will work.
Okay, well, it understands us, so at least it can nod and shake its head. So, Mr. Bear, are you a bear?
It just tilts its head slightly and doesn't give any particular reply.
Yeah. Complex questions have complex answers. I will think on this.
You're not. You're not Lord Sordenbrand, are you?
When you mention the name, the bear kind of, as it's like standing in one, not a corner obviously because it's a round tent, but in one part it kind of backs up a little bit more and it just lowers its head. And if this were a natural creature, you would think it looked sad. Its posture, its body language is sad. But then it rights itself and it stands back up normal. So it wants to convey the message, but it doesn't obviously operate in the same way as a biological creature.
Maybe you were Lord Sordenbrand, that's why. Okay.
It very awkwardly just sways its front body from side to side.
So that's a no?
That's amazing.
Did you travel with him?
It just looks up at Jean-Jacques and it will paw at the ground twice, just like. You guys get the impression it has a complex set of gestures that it can use to communicate, but you don't have the means to interpret all of them.
I'll kind of get a little bit closer. Can we search through the backpack for answers? We won't take anything. We'll put everything back.
Make a persuasion check.
Me? Make a persuasion
Yes.
check?
You were once the very best at those.
That's an 8.
It kind of backs up a little bit, pretty much resting its back against the hut's edge at this point. And it looks at the others and it kind of pushes forward the sack that it puts on the ground, but it watches over it very carefully. Like it stands guard above the possessions inside. And it's up to you to decide if you want to brave opening it and venturing inside.
I will open it because I'll lay everything out so it can see everything and it can keep track of everything that's
Okay.
So
being
Lyra
pulled
still
out.
looks quite hurt, doesn't she?
I'm above half at this point.
Okay.
Okay. So you start unpacking.
Yeah.
You quickly notice that it's not just a regular bag. It is in fact another haversack, similar to the ones that you guys have. So you essentially have to turn it inside out in order to get all of the items.
Yep. I'll turn it inside out.
Okay. A lot of stuff comes out. A lot of generic adventuring items. Someone came very well prepared. You see you find a set of thieves' tools. You find a set of fine clothes, a crowbar, pittons, tinderbox, a few rations still left over that seem to have been hastily made, a rope, and you find a shield and a battle axe that both immediately strike you as being magical in nature.
Are there any markings on the weapons and armor? Like perhaps
Yes,
a
ones
house?
that you... No, not that kind, but rather magical markings that
Okay.
all of you saw on an item that Jean-Jacques carried only a short time ago. And in fact, one that he used to shoot at people with.
Oh. So an artificer's
Seems
set of
that way.
weapons.
And I will say at this point, as you guys are inspecting, and the bear stands guard, you can get a closer look at it as well. And you see that around the neck, it actually has a very thin layer of similar markings engraved. And then right in the middle, it just says in the common tongue what you think is a name. And it says Napoleon.
Okay.
Interesting.
No, not Napoleon? Is that your name?
It briefly just dips its head as if it were being introduced.
Okay. Well, I'm Barnack. I'll dip my head as well.
It stares
And-
at you.
So I'm Barnack. And yeah, we're trying to find Lord Sordenbrand. Bring him home. And my voice broke for a moment.
So from the inside, the dome is see-through, right?
Yeah, correct.
So as you say this, it raises its head again, and it looks at you very intently, or at least you get that impression. And then it turns the head very distinctly towards the building, and just looks in that direction for a good 20 seconds to make the point.
Yeah, so he's in there. Yeah.
I
Right.
did see, or at least I thought I saw a figure in there while Jean-Jacques was setting up the dome.
Are you
Well,
scared of something inside, Napoleon?
It tilts its head slightly as it looks at you, Jean-Jacques, and doesn't give any other reply. You suspect scared might not be a term that applies to it very often.
Yeah,
at all.
and it's set of parameters.
Yeah.
When Jean-Jacques said that, I'm just gonna look at him and look back to the bear and go, you realize it doesn't have hands. It can't open any of the doors to get in if it wanted to, right?
Right, but it's a mechanical bear. It could just barrel through the door.
Barrel.
He just gives a smirk to Barnack, like... I mean, right?
Yeah, it could use its bare hands.
So it does have hands. So
No, it has paws. Give everyone disadvantage.
Not at
Oh,
all.
Tommy, bless your heart.
Yes. Oh god.
I will say amongst the belongings, as you guys are talking and sifting through, you do find a signet ring, which holds Elena's house symbol, essentially. I mean, it's not a typical noble house, but for her
Yeah, but just
family.
for like letters and stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's
Yeah,
her official seal symbol of her family name.
Right, so it seems like we found him.
Yeah.
I-
We do need to rest a bit, but
Right.
okay, Napoleon, do you believe that we should hurry and finding Lord Sardenbrand?
There's a brief pause, but as soon as you essentially said Lord Sordenbrand focused on you very intently, and then just once again scraped the front paw through the dirt twice, and that's it.
But before we continue the conversation, Napoleon, can you say yes for me? Right. Can you say no for me?
And it starts again. The sway, left to right.
Right. What the fuck is the paw thing then?
I know. Can you say I don't know?
Just stares and tilts his head slightly.
Can
Can
you
you
say
say-
maybe?
It just stares and tilts its head slightly the other way.
Can you say please?
Stares.
Darn it.
Yeah, I don't think Lord Brand was teaching the bear how to be polite.
You guys all hear a slight giggle as Felix is sitting on Barnack's shoulder and just basically just having the time of his life watching you guys.
Yeah, he's enjoying himself.
And his tail is like swatting back and forth, so every like couple of seconds you just feel a tail swat you in the back of the head, Barnack.
Yeah.
Let's just sit down for a while, have a little bit of a breather, heal up, and then we can go inside.
Yeah, but my question was, should we stay here for full 8 hours, or should we just have a little breather?
I mean, I can do this. Oh, just I can do this again.
Okay.
It's not a problem, but
Okay.
he kind of like tilts his head to the side and he says, "I can probably do this again."
Sure.
I will
Okay.
say I'm very low on spells. But if we go in there after a short rest, well, I might be healthy. I don't know how much help I'm going to be.
Yeah, me too. But I can take a little bit of time and get back some of me power.
Maybe
can't
Danny
really
and I should
do
go in first to scout the place.
Let's not split up.
just chaotically, no, don't split the party.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. That works. So, short rest, breather. Should we sleep a bit? Okay, I actually have an idea. Napoleon, if you believe that we should hurry up, nod.
Napoleon stares at you for a moment, and you think it's going for a nod, but actually after a moment of pause, it just begins to push at the items that have been spread out, and it begins trying to push them back towards the bag.
Oh yeah, I'll put him back to where.
Yeah,
the
we'll
box
help
is.
him. We'll help him.
So that's what it does, but it does not seem to have a reply for your question. You're not sure if Napoleon is capable of forming opinions on such matters. It has, it has certain things that it wants, from what you can tell, but those seem very simple.
I think I know another question which might help us, and that is, Napoleon, is Lord Sordenbrand hurt? Yeah.
Yes.
He is hurt. We should probably hurry up then.
Right. I just need an hour or so.
I'm not going to be able to help Lord Sordenbrand very much if he is hurt. Just an hour.
Yeah, that's... And I don't have any potions.
Let's see.
When you've finished putting the items back, Napoleon takes the bag, puts it to the side, and then puts himself back on his behind and just sits there waiting, looking around.
Oh, I don't have any potions either.
Yeah.
No, I got one small one, and I got a healer's kit, so I could even if, well, even if he's hurt, I can help out a little bit
Okay, that's
just
good.
to make sure he doesn't die.
Napoleon comes back up, puts the head back down, looks briefly towards the building, and then again covers both of his eyes, of its eyes.
Does that mean you won't be coming with us inside? Yeah.
That's a very loaded question. Like,
Yeah.
it-
Will do you want to come with us inside?
Yeah, even like the way you phrase the question, whatever he said,
Yeah.
it could also mean the opposite thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll... Darn it! I... Shit.
But right after it indicates that it intends to come along, it once again stands up, looks at each of you, then turns like its entire body towards the building, and then again covers its eyes briefly, and then sits back down on its hind legs.
I understand. He wants us to be silent, or rather, we should not be seen. See? He doesn't see us. He sees us.
You just
Doesn't see
hear
us.
giggling from your shoulder.
Jean-Jacques already he sat down sort of like cross-legged, and he's got his eyes closed and is just kind of like muttering to himself, deep in meditation.
Or there'll be a monster that's invisible and we can't see it, or we shouldn't stare at it, because something will happen.
Or it's
maybe-
dark in there.
Oh yeah, it might mean that it's dark.
Sorry, that's
Well-
just really funny.
We could discuss this for an hour and get a short rest.
Nah, I don't know. I think I broke something, so I might.
Wait, Tani, hold on.
Mm.
You've acted like that for a while now. What can you? Are you okay?
Well, it hurts right here, and I'll point to like my rib area. It's starting to
do-
hurt.
Do I remember if anything hit her there?
Well, she went unconscious twice, so she was definitely hurt badly.
Yeah, but nothing like directly. I remember like the clock thing, or rather, that's what I'm.
Well, it was in the middle of combat. You didn't have the
Yeah, so
time
we
to
didn't
track
see-
that
yeah,
specifically.
yeah. However, you're not feeling well then, are you? Well, maybe a short rest will help you as well. Let's catch a breather, an hour, and then let's go inside.
You guys all go to sit down and have your short rest then?
I so well.
I will say that as you go to sit down and rest and you start to talk a little bit amongst yourselves, Napoleon gets back up and kind of starts patrolling for the first 10 minutes or so. But then as it watches the interactions between you, and maybe, you talk a little bit more about injuries, needing rest, etc. Realizing perhaps what you were intended to do, Napoleon comes up to each of you and grabs your bedroll from your pack and pulls at it and tries to pull it out for each of you.
Wait, Napoleon, wait, that's for me? Hold on. I sleep there. I can find you another one.
I think he's trying to tell us to sleep.
Oh, that means we have time. I'm pretty much up for that then.
Yeah?
Very much
Jean-Jacques.
like sleep.
Jean-Jacques, you said this is for 8 hours? This will be for 8 hours, right?
Can I respond, Kevin?
Yeah. Because
Oh, okay.
stuff that you can do over a short rest is still, you're still interactable.
Yeah, he just answers, aye, it's for 8 hours, so, and it's completely safe. Nothing can come inside, as long as, well, nothing can break it down, like I would.
Okay. Then You guys rest up. I'll take the first watch just to be sure. If something tries to knock you down. I'll talk to Felix for a bit.
Since we're
goody.
gonna take a long rest, I'll go over to Tanya and be like, let me see your side first to make sure it's not too bad.
Okay. Make a medicine check.
Can I help with this?
No, because
not
it's like
proficient.
physically like feeling the actual spot
Yeah.
and seeing if there's, injury.
14.
Tani has cracked a rib, and you suspect it will take quite a bit of healing to get it right again.
I will use my last 3rd level spell slot for Cure Wound.
Okay. Yeah, with a 14 medicine check, that seems reasonable.
So,
Isn't Barnek quite hurt? No, he's not. He was healed up.
He's still spitting blood a bit, but he's fine.
Yeah. Since JJ is
9
perfectly fine. Okay. Sorry.
9 points of healing to Tani.
For 3rd
And that-
level,
A 1, a 2, and a 1 plus my.
oh my god.
This reminds me of Echo. It's pretty much the entirety of the healing they did during the entire campaign.
Echo wasn't built for healing.
So yeah, Tani, you feel the healing flow through you. You regain the hit points that are provided, but both of you become aware, and this is maybe something that on a campaign level is a bit newer, but with severe injuries like this, where you've gone down once or twice, it takes more healing than this to get it fully repaired. So you're not sure what the threshold is at the moment, but you suspect Tani probably needs a couple of healing spells, even if she's otherwise fine, to get to full functionality.
Then I will spend my last 3 spell slots.
Oh my, okay.
They're all 1st level.
Go ahead and roll all the healing then.
I love it, Kevin. So excited that you introduced that.
Math.
I
I'll
like it
just
too.
give you the max total.
Introduce these injuries.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, well give me the individual spell healing actually for each
Okay.
one. Sorry. I should have said.
11,
Okay.
10, and 10.
So after the second spell, you feel the rib right itself, and it's actually really very brief but very painful moment for Tani as it pushes back into place. But after this, so you have 1 spell slot left if you wish. But right then, Tani, you feel it go back to normal. Oh, thanks. I'm going to use that against you guys. The inspiration.
Of course.
Oh.
Nah, we'll see. But yeah, so Tani, finally, that kind of nagging pain that you didn't realize was actually building up is finally gone from you.
Oh, thank you. I feel like my normal self again.
Now I'm gonna go sleep.
All right. So you guys can go and get some rest, get some sleep. And Barnak, you wanted to take the first watch?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, as Barnek says that, JJ approaches him and he says, you look a little bit hurt, and I'm perfectly fine myself.
I
So-
don't. And there's a lot of blood just on the ground.
That
Yeah.
point Felix flies
just-
away.
Yeah. JJ
That's-
just kind of looks at it and he's like,
Yeah.
why don't you go to sleep? I don't think I could fall asleep anyway.
Yeah. Okay. But wake me up then in 2 hours. I'll take the next watch.
Will do.
Okay.
As you guys are talking
Felix.
about watch, and you call for Felix, you watch as Napoleon sits in the middle of the tent, and again sits on his hind legs, but the head goes up, and you see both eyes just kind of looking out towards the back essentially, and then the head begins slowly rotating, and the eyes are glowing slightly.
I guess I can sleep and hopefully not dream of bears rotating heads.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah. See it. And I'll just fall asleep if Felix. I'll just say bye to Felix and fall asleep.
Okay. Felix comes up and actually does give you a slight nudge on the head, affectionately almost, you would say, and then flies over to Jean-Jacques and sits down in front of him, looking around, interested, curious, eager to be seeing some new stuff. All right. Is there anything in particular you guys want to do during the night, during your watches?
I will, as everybody goes to sleep, I'll actually pull out the sword that I have on me and pull out the book.
Okay.
And I'll just place them on the ground in front of me and just stare at them for a little bit. There's a pensive look on JJ's face as he tries to process the past few hours, pretty much.
Felix sitting there just kind of sits on the other side of where you've put this down, and in the middle of your being pensive, just goes, "Where did you conjure those up? That's not a skill that a lot of people should have anymore."
I'm really not that sure.
When did this start?
I think it started when we left the engine room. It started during the fight with the security forces.
What happened down there exactly?
Well, you see, there's a few versions. I remember I went inside the the engine, I guess.
Oh, you're not supposed to do that.
Yeah, I'm starting to think that I might have needed to think that through a little bit more.
There's protective suits for doing maintenance on the engine that close.
Right. Probably something that Gerallo should have mentioned, I think.
Well, I'm pretty sure he didn't mean for you to get that close. Tell me, have you noticed anything disappearing about yourself? Especially fingers, toes?
Check my fingers and toes.
Okay. They all seem fine.
No, nothing like that, but maybe something a little bit more substantial in some ways. It's yeah, he kind of trails off, lost in his thoughts.
Right. Well, that sounds tough. But, maybe if we're successful here, we can, fix that.
Yeah. I'm not sure, yeah. Maybe. This seems to be quite useful at the moment, though, so...
Yes, but I can't stand the way you're talking.
Do you prefer me to talk like this, then?
It's a little more bearable, yes. The other one's just a little too much like him, and points towards Barnack with one paw.
Fair point.
Yeah, and I just...
Nah, don't do that for sure.
I don't know, I haven't heard you sleep yet.
Right.
Also, I'm getting the impression you don't actually have to be on watch, as Felix looks up at the bear, and you become aware of the very slow, mechanical ticking of the essentially the cogwheel as it moves.
Yeah, I don't think I'd need to be on watch either. I just Needed a minute.
Okay. Do you still wake up someone else for the watch?
No, I just go to sleep
Okay.
after like an hour or so.
Okay.
Here.
Does anyone want to awaken and do anything else during the night? Have a conversation of any type? Wait, during the night. I will say outside stays completely clear blue skies. The only shade that you have is literally from the trees around you that are just blocking it enough, along with the hut to prevent you from like heating up significantly. Barnack, I saw you nodding maybe?
No, I was
No,
nodding
okay.
to descriptions. I was like, if JJ wakes me up, then yes. But if JJ doesn't wake me up, then I will not wake up by myself. I'll
Okay.
just sleep through it.
Okay, sounds good. Then I will just quickly look something up until Chancy is back, because she wanted to do something during the night.
Wait a
And,
second, I'll go get some cookies.
and I need to find something in my notes, which is from a while ago. Oh, darn. No. Okay. Chancy, are you back? Okay. So,
Yes.
you find that you haven't been awakened for the watch, but you know each of you has your moments throughout the night where you can kind of come to consciousness, and if you wish, take up to 2 hours to rest lightly instead, which does happen to you later than you might have wanted it to, as you realize that the others have decided, either consciously or unconsciously, to rely on the bear to keep watch for the moment. So what would you like to do? Oh wait, no, you told me. I would like you to make an Arcana and an Investigation check.
I am not good at either of these. Investigation. Okay, no negatives. Arcana, 8. And the investigation, a 9.
Okay. Could very well be what you think it is. The things that you're comparing. But you kind of need an expert eye on it. Someone other than yourself who can look at what you are looking at.
Okay.
In any case, we do come towards the end of the spell, and it's probably been about 7.5 hours by the time that the spell fades. So you have a little more resting to do, but thankfully none of you actually took a full watch. So you can spend the last half hour kind of coming to, talking quietly in the forest clearing, and regaining the last of your abilities, but you get to full health, full spell slots, full abilities, and are ready for what you might call a new day, even though it doesn't seem like any day has passed at all. Which, considering your past few days, weeks, years on the island, is probably not that new anymore, but still disconcerting to face another form of time manipulation, as far as you can tell. So, the bear puts its head back down, the eyes stop glowing, and rights itself, once again grabbing the pack and readying itself for another day. What would you guys like to do?
I sent you a message on Discord.
Ah, sorry. No, you are exactly as you are.
Okay. All right then, shall we? Why the long faces? Well,
I was just hoping after a long rest, some things would, be a little different.
okay.
It's fine.
So,
Probably not anything.
So, is Napoleon still like that, or is he?
No,
is
he's
he
righted
stopped?
himself, or it has righted itself rather.
Napoleon, I have a weird question, but do you think, or rather, is it dangerous inside? Okay, then may I ride you inside? May I be a dwarf on a bear? Okay, it's worth it. It was worth a try.
At that point, Felix lands on the bear's back, and the bear doesn't seem to notice or care.
Of course, and he gets to do anything.
Just kind of sits there.
So we got full health back finally,
Yes, you did.
and all spells back. So that's fun. And hit dice. So half of our total hit dice, right?
Yes, half of your hit dice return.
Perfect. So I'm full now. Used half.
I
last
was
time.
at full already.
Okay.
Okay, show
Nice.
off.
So, do you guys think we should be stealthy? Do you guys think we should slowly go inside, or should we just bang through the door and let them know we're there?
If it's dangerous inside, we probably shouldn't make our presence known. That being said, I will most likely give away where we are.
Stay close to me. I don't think you will. Just stay close to me.
Okay.
Also, Napoleon, Felix, you two stay close to me as well. Especially you, Napoleon. You're metal.
Okay. There's no response from the bear.
Yeah.
Just stands facing the building, and is otherwise so completely still, and probably in anticipation that you might think it's just run out of power.
Is there only one door, or are there multiple?
So you
I've
have
seen one
all
door.
seen a door on the front. There
Each of the
is
doors?
an additional door in the back that Tani and Barnack have seen in the top left, where there's a small
Okay.
door here.
What about this one?
Yeah, hold on. There's two more on the right side. So here, I'll just ping it quickly like this. But
Yep.
here is a door, and similarly up here is a door as well.
Okay, so those are outdoors.
Yeah, so we have 4 doors.
4 doors. And that's what it's called. It's the 4-door inn. No, I'm kidding.
Napoleon, which door did Jorgenbrand go into?
Napoleon briefly orients itself and then points its nose towards the front door. At least what you think is the front door, the one that's closest to the road here.
I actually, just as an FYI, I think I made a mistake. I don't actually have the ability to cast the message cantrip.
Oh.
So,
Well,
sorry about that.
maybe you
Kinda
faked
need
it.
to- Yeah, maybe. Yeah, okay. Sure.
All right.
I mean, you were never more than
Oh,
like
wait.
15 feet away from anyone who used it.
Yeah, no, I did for Barnack, but I think I just... No. Yeah, I do have it. Never mind. Never
Okay.
mind. Yeah, I was just looking at the wrong thing.
Okay.
I'm good.
Cool. So, I should position you guys roughly. So your clearing that you found was actually more like over here. So you're looking at it from this direction as you approach.
Okay. Are we all ready? We know the drill. I'll get us a bit more stealthy, and then we go in, one by one.
Mm-hmm.
Myra, maybe you should take the point.
I guess. I will go first. I'll stay close to you.
Yeah, stay. I'll go second then.
Okay. So how do you approach this, Myra?
I cast Pass Without Trace before she approaches it, though.
Okay. Go ahead and roll stealth,
Yeah.
everyone, if you are stealthing.
Yeah. Oh, that's actually pretty damn good. 27. Wait, no. Do I have disadvantage on my stealth? I have to remember.
Might be from heavy armor, yeah.
Don't you use medium armor?
No, I have a breastplate.
It's still...
Breastplate's light, and I don't think has disadvantage.
It's heavy armor, but it doesn't have disadvantage because it's only a breastplate.
It's medium armor,
Okay.
but indeed it does not have disadvantage.
It's medium? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
because...
can never remember.
Yeah,
when I
no.
have disadvantage or not.
It's no worries. But yeah, you don't have disadvantage, so you're good.
32.
27 for me.
Nice.
Rolled an 18.
Let me see
I rolled
here.
a 17, but
I rolled the same, but I guess I got...
I get a -1 to my stealth, so
Yeah,
we did a
yeah.
17.
Okay, so
31.
17, 31. Tani?
Mine was 27 with the plus 10.
Tani's was 20 with the plus 10. Kira?
I rolled a 12 in total, so plus 10.
Oh, okay, 22.
That's what that would
Nice.
trace. 22.
Yeah, okay, nice.
Which
and
is
Jean-Jacques?
fairly low, considering.
Yeah,
32.
32, right. Okay. Surprisingly, the bear, as it follows you, seems to mimic your movements, and it's doing very well. You don't hear a creak of metal. You don't hear its footfalls. It is passing perfectly between all of you and not making a sound to draw attention. Oh, Nicola, could you update the currently, actually? Since we have advanced a little bit. No worries. And Felix, the flying cat, flies up, actually, outside of your reach, but stays close enough to benefit from the spell and disappears entirely. Sometimes you see like a blink of a wing, but that's about it. So, stealthy and all. Myra, what do you do?
I go straight up to the wall and then like scale the wall to get to the door.
Okay.
That way I'm not in.
Okay, so you cross quickly and you get to the wall, and then you start to kind of like shimmy along carefully, and then you get to the door, which perhaps to your surprise or perhaps not, you find unlocked.
Okay, I'm gonna listen in first.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, interesting. 1 second. Need to find a particular stat. Okay, very nice. From the other side, as you press your ear to the wall or to the door, almost as if the walls in the door were so thick that it was blocking out all sound until you put your ear to it, you hear a voice, and it's just briefly it's speaking a language that you don't know, because I don't believe that you know Sylvan, correct?
Nope, common and Elvish.
But you can recognize it, because you've also been in contact with Sylvan quite a few times recently. And you hear two different voices, one female and one male, briefly have an exchange, and then all fall silent as you hear a door close on the other side.
I kind of like look back, two people talking, like really low.
Yeah.
And then I'll slowly open the door.
Okay. As you open the door and reveal what's inside, you reveal the entry hall of the inn, in which you find a couple of benches, and behind a desk with a ledger on it, you find a rather slightly rough-looking, completely elven gentleman sitting, who sits there kind of quietly reading a book, but as he sees you, he smiles warmly and speaks again in that language that you don't understand, but also beckons you in, and you gather that that he is saying, "Welcome, come in."
I can like look to Jean-Jacques, because I believe Jean-Jacques is the one who leaks Sylvan, if I remember correctly.
You do remember him speaking Sylvan?
Yeah, whether or not you know it now.
Fair enough.
So I'll kind of go in, and I'll like make a point to have Jean-Jacques come in second.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he does.
Okay. So you enter, and Jean-Jacques, you do indeed understand, as you become or apparent to the man behind the desk, the elf behind the desk rather. He speaks to you as well. He says, welcome to our humble abode. It's wonderful to see you. Please come forward. Bring in any friends that you have. We're more than happy to meet with you, and provide you room and board for the night, and for as long as you need. May I ask
And
your names?
he's speaking in Sylvan.
In Sylvan currently, yes.
Okay. All right. So JJ does respond in Sylvan.
Okay.
Says, thank you very much for your kindness. These are my compatriots. We are known as the Ashen Hearts. My name's Jean-Jacques Dupois. And I point to the rest and introduce them one by one.
Do the rest actually reveal themselves, or do any of you stay outside?
I introduce the visible ones,
Okay.
I guess.
Okay. I will say Felix, after he hears talking, flies inside and lands on your shoulder. And you just catch a genial smile from the man, and he begins writing down names and such. And after you finish introducing, he stands up, having finished his writing, and he says, my name is Jaros. I am very happy to be your host for the day. And may I ask how long you might be staying with us?
As he's speaking, I just like to very studiously inspect his appearance in the room and just kind of try to take in as much information as I can, looking for any signs of danger or anything like that.
Well, you can do one of the
While
other.
He's writing, I guess.
Yeah, you can either do like a perception check to see if there's any obvious danger outside of him, or you can make an insight check to read him specifically.
I will...
And just to clarify, you've introduced yourself, I assume maybe Felix, and Myra so far.
I guess so, yeah. I don't know if the rest joined in or not. We didn't really...
So that's a good question. In the moment, as you see Jean-Jacques being beckoned inside and start to speak in Sylvan, Tani and Barnack, do you choose to enter as well, or do you remain out of sight?
I guess I would have translated maybe as well. Like, as he speaks, I'll translate, and then I'll speak, and then say what I said.
Sure.
Just so that everybody's aware, at least, of what the conversation is about. I'll do an insight check.
Okay.
That was cocked before I moved. Fuck. Great. 10.
Okay. Seems like a very friendly elven man. Pure-blooded elf.
Okay. Could you remind me of his name again?
Jaros. Jhaaros.
Jaros. Okay.
I'll put it in the Twitch chat for you. So, actually, I can do that even better. But yeah, what would you like to do after he asks you whether you intend to stay, or how long you intend to stay?
Yeah. I'll say, well, despite your great hospitality and wonderful demeanor, hope that we won't be staying for too long, as we're hopefully just passing by. We're looking for somebody, a friend of ours, that, I guess, a friend of sorts, that we're hoping we can reconvene with and mosey out of here.
Oh, I see. Well, perhaps one of the other visitors has heard of your friend. I'm afraid it does not strike any chord with me, but you're welcome to socialize and ask questions as you prefer. You'll find my wife behind the counter, so she'll serve you drinks, food, anything that you need, and my son will show you to your rooms once you head on in. So please, make yourselves comfortable, take a load off, sit down, rest, enjoy yourselves, and if you require anything, please don't hesitate to ask.
From the outside, I'll kinda not really yell, but say a bit loudly. Ask him if pets are okay. Ask if it's a pet-friendly place.
Do you allow pets inside?
Takes a glance at Felix, which is the obvious pet that he would expect you to be talking about, and says, "Oh, absolutely not a problem. We engage guests with familiars all the time."
Right. Something a bit larger than that, like dwarf-sized.
Takes a moment to consider. It would be preferred if you could keep them outside, if that's at all feasible. But otherwise, we can allow you entry through one of the other doors so that you can direct them straight to your rooms. But I must ask that you keep them restrained in the public areas. Of course, we have our other guests to think about, and animals of that size are not typically.
Yeah, I translate all of that.
Tell him he's a good boy. And then I'll show myself with a bear.
Okay.
I'll beckon Napoleon and say, "It's your turn."
So, multiple things happen. As you come forward and you show yourself, you catch a smile from the gentleman. And he says to you, as he recognizes your voice, in common, as he responds, "I understand it may be a very well-behaved animal, but unfortunately this is our policy. But if you are very insistent, I am happy to show you where to show them inside once you have been assigned to your rooms." And as Napoleon comes and pushes forward as well, Napoleon stops in the doorway beside you, and then as Napoleon looks at the man, just gently, or not so gently actually, begins trying to push you away from the door and away from the building. With no clear explanation, obviously. He's just seen the man and then started pushing you away. Seen the elf, rather.
Can I see this happening?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's
I'm
fairly
gonna
obvious.
insight check the elf again.
Okay. What are
Question.
What are you looking for?
I'm just trying to see if there's like vibe checking him, essentially.
Okay, so you do a vibe check, and Barnack, you want to
That's a
ask.
13, yeah.
Question is it the same as when he pushed me out of the way of the building when we were rounding the corner?
It's a similar motion, yes, but it's more forceful. He's not trying to overpower you, but there's definitely a get aside, get away kind of feeling to it.
Okay. I'll then speak in common and say, just the moment he gets antsy like this, I'll be right back, and then I'll leave like 5 feet away, like outside, so the man doesn't see us again.
Taking this opportunity, can I do now like a perception check or some other check to ascertain if there's any clear danger within the room outside of the elf?
Okay, you can make a perception check, and Tani, what are you doing in the meantime?
Oh, Jesus.
I was staying very close to the door this entire time, and as I see Barnack being pushed, I think I want to go out too.
Okay, so you kind of step back outside. The friendly-looking elf gentleman just looks at you as you start to back up, and as Barnack also leaves a little bit, leaves back outside, and just goes,
I'll try to nod politely as I go out.
You're more than welcome here. We would be very happy to meet with you, and to hear your stories, and to learn about you, but there is no obligation to stay. But know that you are welcome. 13 on the vibe check. Chansey, I sent you a message on Discord. And Jean-Jacques, what was your perception check?
8.
8. It's a fairly barren room to begin with. There's a bench and a very simple writing table. It's not even a desk, really. It just has like one drawer underneath in which some papers are being kept, as far as you can tell, because he pulled a paper out from it to write on when you arrived. But that's it. There's nothing that stands out to you as particularly dangerous in this room. Barnack and Myra, what are you two doing in this?
I'll kind of just like put my hand up to tell the elf, like, one moment, and I'll go outside and just kind of go to Barnack and Connie's. Do you want us to get a room and we can bring in the other entrance?
Yeah, well, Napoleon doesn't like the moment he saw the elf
Yeah, it's,
pushed me back, and it was the same motion as last time, like pushing me out of the danger. So
yeah, I trust the bear's instinct, but I can't pick up why I don't trust this. I mean, besides the fact we're in a globe and everything in this tower has been very, very weird.
maybe let us all go to the other entrance. So all of us,
I think we
because
need to have rooms first so we're closer to the
okay,
entrance where our rooms are.
let's get rooms. So let JJ get rooms for us, for all
I
of us.
I, I think we shouldn't split up one person
No, I
in
mean
two of us.
I shouldn't go.
No, that's
Yeah,
fine. You and Tani stay with Napoleon, and I'll stay with JJ and Felix.
yeah. But we need to tell them that we rent the room anyway.
Yeah.
That's true. Okay, Napoleon.
Still
We have to
gently
go.
nudging against your leg.
We have to go inside to save Lord Sordenbrand.
He stops nudging and looks, like, literally the head comes up and looks at you and then turns towards the building, puts his head down on the ground again, and once more covers his eyes. And then, but very briefly, and then stops and gets back up and then steps aside for you to approach the building. Sorry, I just read someone in the chat describing what Napoleon actually is, and it sounds pretty ridiculous. But
Okay, do you still want to come with us?
he nods yes.
Okay. But then let's stay close, just so if anything happens, we can protect you.
Raises one paw and covers one eye, like sort of trying to repeat the gesture from just now, but even more quickly.
And I'll just do the same, like.
Let's see. Okay. Just kind of stares at you for a moment, and very briefly brings up like the mechanical nose and just nudges your bow, then again covers one eye, and then steps aside to wait for you to lead him.
Barnack's brain just explodes from all that information. But no, hold on. So he nudged my bow, and then stepped aside so that we can go inside.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's actually a good thing. Question: the haversack that cannot have a whole bow inside, right? Because it's part of, or can it actually
I think
hold
it
a
can.
bow? Okay.
You can unstring the bow and it becomes literally a staff.
Yeah.
Because if you unstring the bow, it becomes sort of like a staff essentially.
Okay. Then I will do that and have a walking staff now.
Okay.
Not really like pushing against it, but since it's a magical weapon, I don't think I would be able to break it just by leaning
No,
on
you
it.
definitely can't break it.
Yeah, so
it's just not. It's like it obviously straightens out, but it retains some of the shape. It's not fully like a staff.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I
but
meant
I'll
more
still
shape-wise a staff, not necessarily that it looks like one.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'll still like grab it and okay, don't worry. They will not take our weapons. And I'll go back inside.
Okay.
So yes, we would like to take your offer.
Well, hold on. While you were obviously
sorry.
having this conversation,
sorry.
Jean-Jacques and Myra. Jean-Jacques and Felix were inside. Myra, you backed out, right, to have this brief chat with Barnack as well?
Yeah, and then I'll head back in.
Okay, so you come in, but Jean-Jacques, after kind of checking around, see if there's anything dangerous, what else would you like to do?
I guess I'll just strike like up a little bit of a like casual conversation with him. I'll just say, "Are you the proprietor of this establishment, then.
I am indeed. This is my inn.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Well, you seem the one room, but do you get many guests here?
From time to time. It's been a bit slow lately, but I think we prefer quality over quantity, and I can tell that you're quality guests, so I'm certain that we will be very happy to have you and to learn about you.
Well, that's mighty nice of you. I hope that we do get to learn much about one another.
I'm certain we
have
will.
You had any guests recently?
I do believe we currently have one moment, and he goes into the drawer, like produces another folded piece of paper which has just a list of names on it. Most look very faded and very old, and then there's one name that's been newly added at the bottom, which you can make a perception check to see if you can read it upside down.
Okay, let me check. I don't know if this is worth it, but I think I might want to use it. As an I will risk it for the biscuit. I'll use the timepiece and give myself advantage on all ability checks for 5 minutes.
Okay.
And I'll
So
roll a 19.
Okay, so I will say it's probably around this time, or maybe it's in fact this very moment that draws Myra back inside. But both of you only hear the very distinct ticking of a clock speeding up before fading. 19, you said.
Yes.
It is indeed upside down, written in Sylvan, the name Patrick Sordenbrand. He looks at the paper only for a moment as you get this glance, then puts it away and says, "We currently, in fact, have 3 guests, which I'm certain will be very happy to meet you."
Oh, that's wonderful. We've been on the road for some time, so
I can imagine.
new company's always welcome.
Certainly. Shall I show you in?
Well, I'd be remiss if I weren't to ask. Is there an admittance fee, or...?
Not at all. We pride ourselves on providing a service to our communities. And we're very happy to put you up, provide you with a fine meal, or even several if you choose to stay here for a while. And all we ask in return is that you pay us with a few stories about yourselves.
I see.
Will your friends be joining
That's-
us? And in fact, this whole conversation, ever since he checked the list, or rather probably since he talked to Barnack as well, has been in common. So he's been speaking common since then.
I turn around and then I see them, I guess, entering, right?
Yeah, Myra and then Barnack and Tani following along. And the bear resting, or probably waiting in the doorway. And Jaros, as he sees all of you kind of crowding in, says, "It will be a pleasure to host you. If you would like your pet to also be allowed inside, then please instruct them to wait, and I will show you momentarily to the door that will take them not through the main common area."
Okay. May I go with my pet?
Of course,
the
you're free to
same
wait
area?
with them.
Yes, I will. That's a good thing.
Excellent. Well, then the rest of you, please follow me. And he goes to open the door and lead you guys into the main area, which I will reveal now.
As he does, I'll just, with my back turned to him, whisper and point towards Barnack, and I'll cast message. And I'll just say, be careful. Don't get into any trouble.
Never. As in the trouble part, not the be careful.
No, I'm taking that as the
Yeah,
never be
yeah,
careful.
you take it.
And
Yep, take it. Take it however you want to.
So 1 second, I'm just doing the reveal so that the shadows are correct. This way. There we go. Roll 20 is so cool. So, you guys are led into the main chamber, and you see immediately to your left there is a closed off area which has much more lavish furnishings, in which you do spot an elderly woman, also elven, full blood elf. Everyone that you see here is a full blood elf, sitting there quietly, not doing anything in particular at all. And then further up ahead, you see there's a gentleman sitting up here by a table, and there is a silver-haired woman behind the bar, also fully elven, and she's currently just cleaning, very typical barkeep stuff, just cleaning a mug of ale. She seems to be in more working clothes than Jaros is, who is dressed quite finely. But both of them have this kind of silver hair, and they look at each other fondly as Jaros gestures you forward, and he says, "Over there is Navarre, my wife. She'll be very happy to help you with anything that you require, and in a few moments, or rather in a few minutes, my son will come and show you to your rooms, and also help your companion and his pet inside, and provide you with anything else that you might require. In the meantime, of course, if you have any questions, complaints, anything that you need, please don't hesitate to come to me or my family, and we'll be happy to help you. And anyone else here is a guest. Please make yourselves at home."
Thank you very much.
Who's been adding commands to our chat?
I don't have no clue.
Okay, so I'll just roughly position you guys inside. Felix immediately just flies to a table and finds the tablecloth in the middle, lies himself down, and starts cleaning himself as he watches the area around him. All of your footsteps are still completely silent, by the way, as until you got far away enough from Barnack that the effect fades, and suddenly you become aware of your footsteps on the wood creaking, and everything kind of comes to life around you a bit, as if it hadn't been moments ago. So, what do you guys want to do next?
I'll have to wait.
Yes, you can wait outside, but you can still do something if you want to look or see. Or...
So,
Well, am I
Jarvis-
alone?
Well, you're alone with Napoleon. Yes.
Yeah, but am I alone in that room now?
In the room, no, because Jaros returns momentarily after showing the rest of the party.
Okay. Darn it.
As he turns, I turn my back towards the party. Not towards the party, but towards the people.
Mm-hmm.
So that hopefully I'm, it seems like I'm gesturing towards the party and saying something, but I will try and cast message like towards this room here, and I'll just say,
Sorry,
Lord
ping it again?
Sordenbrand, can you hear me?
Okay. That particular room. Okay. There's a brief pause, and a relatively deep voice answers you and asks, "Lord?"
Okay. Yeah, I guess I wouldn't have addressed him with Lord, right? Because I call Ellen a lady because lady's a
Yeah.
multifunctional.
It's not an impossible thing to have happened, so it might just be,
Yeah.
in your head you have been, and in your conversations you guys have been calling
Yeah.
him that. So it's not a
Yeah.
weird thing. It just doesn't seem to resonate with the voice on the other end.
Right. And I'll recast it. I'll say, Mr. Sordenbrand, then. Is that you?
Do I know you?
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. I'll check my surroundings and see if anybody's looking at me suspiciously over.
Well, the woman behind the bar is watching you quite closely, as you are new guests that were pointed in her direction and then did not approach.
Yeah. So I guess I'll say out loud to the party, shall we introduce ourselves? I kind of point towards the bar.
Yeah. We can introduce ourselves. I'm not really.
Yeah, I'll motion to Myra, like with a significant look, to go, and if she does, I'll wait for that moment while she's crossing my path to cast message again, towards the same, and I'll just say, Lady Elena sent us to find you and bring you back to Pastitia. We're the Ashen Hearts.
Who is Lady Elena?
Well, just to clarify, maybe, I mean, you can, I'll leave it up to you, but it's only the creature. I can only send the message if I know the creature that I'm sending it to, and it has to be that creature in order for me to hear it. Just, yeah, okay. I'll kind of.
I understand the clarification. It's valuable.
Yeah.
But
I'll just gently frown and go with the party for now.
Okay. So you guys approach. Myra, you're the first to actually reach there, realizing maybe moments later that Jean-Jacques has left you to go alone for a moment, and you actually will have to start the conversation as you approach. But the lady behind the bar already smiles, a bright smile, with those fine elven features that, honestly, you've seen in half-elves to a degree. Someone like Jean-Jacques is probably as close to elven as you've seen, but this is just on a whole other level. Like, proper pureblood elves have not existed in the world for over 50 years. So coming face to face with them, it's quite something to see. And she smiles and says, "Welcome to our little place. How can I help you today? My name is Navarre, if my husband didn't forget to introduce me again. And I'm very happy to meet you."
Nice to meet you too. We're the Ashen Heart.
Ashen Hearts, that's a very interesting name. Please have a seat. Can I offer you anything to drink, anything to eat? And have you already been shown to your rooms?
We have not.
One moment,
We actually
then.
have friends outside waiting to come in with our...
Of course, just a moment. And she turns and she pushes open the door to the kitchen, and you hear her bark something, and you catch a name. Rouvayen, please show our guests to their chambers while I prepare some food for them.
Can I perception check into the room to see if I can get, like,
Sure.
what's back there?
Make a perception check.
9. Or no, my perception's not that high. I keep on forgetting my perception inside of stuff. 6. That was a nat 1.
Okay. You just catch sight of a young man that looks indeed like a cross between Navarre and Jaros, who is currently in the middle of preparing something on the table, some food, and then just kind of sighs. You get the impression, for humans it'd be like a teenager, although elves, you don't know what that particular progression is like. And moments later, he actually comes out and presents himself without the apron that you saw him in moments ago. He says, "All right, who am I showing to their rooms? Is it the three of you? Is there anyone else?"
We need rooms near a door for our other friend and our pet.
Okay. Yes, please come this way. Mother, the keys, please, to 3 and 4. And she just briefly pauses and then nods. And they exchange keys. And before he actually goes to lead you onward, she just calls after you. "Can I prepare you any food? We have duck, quail, cheese, and meats. What is your preference?"
I think we're all good for right now. Perhaps a little bit later, once we've gotten
Excellent.
settled.
I'll be waiting. And Rouvayen just begins to lead you. Felix follows, flying above, probably Tani at this point. And he shows you down the corridor here, and he reveals 2 rooms to you, which both have a double bed and plenty of space. So he unveils these 2 rooms for you, and then moves on to the door here and pokes his head out, and Barnack, you hear a voice calling out, "Hello? There was supposed to be another guest."
Yeah, and I'll approach with before Napoleon shows up. I'll tell the kid, don't worry, he is very well behaved. And then the mechanical bear just shows up.
Okay, so Napoleon briefly stops again, and he kind of walks like lockstep with you, refusing to approach any faster than you do, but at the same time guarding you essentially from the side. And Rivian doesn't seem to take any notes, just lets you in, and reiterates what Jaros also said. If you could just please make sure to not let him go into the main common area, that would be great. We don't like to bother our other guests with eccentricities like this. But please come on in.
Okay,
These are your rooms.
One question, just a question, retroactive question. While I was waiting for like them to do that, could I have gone outside and just?
Well, you weren't waiting outside the whole time, right?
Yeah. Well, like just a bit even further into like the forest or something.
Okay.
And then I would take a signal whistle
Mm-hmm.
and blow in it, and then tell Napoleon, if I ever do that, come find me inside. If we get separated.
Okay, you can have definitely done that.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. So yeah, the two of you are led inside. Napoleon making the floor creak quite heavily as he follows you, and under Rouvien's eye, if you don't give any very strong objections, he waits until you've guided Napoleon into one of the rooms, and then goes back to the main chamber, telling you, as whenever you're ready to come get food and drink, and that they'll be happy to hear your story.
Much obliged. We'll just reconvene for a little bit, and then join you all.
All right. I will say, as Rivayen moves past and kind of pushes through, I would like each of you to make a perception check.
Been more than 5 minutes since our entrance, right?
Let's see. I would say it's on the tail end. It just about applies, because it's a lot of different things that happen at the same time.
Didn't help.
Okay.
Perception, right?
Yes.
14.
Okay.
17 total. Shit. That was
8.
And
13.
Okay. Nothing in particular jumps out at you guys. In fact, it seems like a very normal, cozy little inn. There's not a lot of chatter from the main room, even as Ruvayan returns. There's two guests that are not interacting with anyone, so it's just him who briefly talks to his mother, and then he disappears back into what you think is probably the kitchen area.
Okay.
Why don't we all come into this room here and just have a brief conversation?
Sure.
Point to the closest room.
As you say this, Felix just kind of pipes up and goes, "You're back to your normal self."
What do you mean?
Yeah, where'd the accent go?
What accent are you talking about?
Does he look the same as he did like an hour ago, or other 12 hours ago, or whatever?
Yes, pretty much. Felix flies inside, so you all kind of crowd into the same chamber, I'm guessing.
I'll just ask Jean-Jacques, do you remember when I taught you how to talk like me?
Of course I remember.
Okay.
But Felix told me that he didn't like me talking that way because it
Yeah,
looks
this
like
is better.
you, so
This is
I
better.
just chose one that I knew.
Yeah, that's better.
Okay.
Felix is just giggling as he flies over the bed and then finds himself a very comfortable place. The bear settles itself in the corner and sits back on its hind legs again. The head goes up once more. This time turns fully on the axis so the eyes are facing forward. And then it just kind of slowly rotates from left to right, repeatedly, scanning the room essentially in a sort of sentry position, watching out for danger.
I say to the rest, sent a message to Lord Sordenbrand, I think. Well, actually, we shouldn't be calling him a Lord Hurt, because he ain't one. But to Mr. Sordenbrand, I think it was him that responded, but he didn't know who Lady Elena was when I brought her name up.
Can you do it again?
I can. But
Ask
I've
him
got
how
a...
long. You can't do it from here.
Yeah, actually, I don't think I could. No, I think I could, but I have a theory. Completely just a theory at this point. I've got no evidence to support it, but if all the payment that they require is our stories, maybe we pay for it in more than just, you know, campfire stuff. Maybe they actually take the story when you tell it.
I was thinking the same thing. Can that actually? Mm, I don't like it here.
But that means it's easy for us to pay and not really pay, isn't it? Just tell someone else's story.
Maybe, but I don't know. Can I just... No. I'll just proceed, I guess, with what I'm theorizing at the moment. Because I don't think I could, like, really make any form of check that would... Like, I guess, do I know of any magical beings or entities of some kind that, like, absorb memories or feed off of experiences of people?
I would say for that, you could make a nature check, see if anything, from bestiaries that you've looked through, adventuring accounts that you've read, if anything springs to mind.
Would I be able to help him with that?
You can make your own. But for knowledge checks, this is kind of where I was alluding to earlier. Knowledge checks I kind of want to split up for the individual person.
So everyone
bit
can.
more.
Yeah, but okay.
Yeah, so you can make your own nature check. So how much?
Yeah.
8.
8.
9. There it is.
I would definitely pronounce the N at the end more clearly, just FYI. But, what? No, I was talking to Mila.
No, to me.
I know. There was an N at the end of that?
Yeah, 9. But anyway, no language lessons. So 8 and a 9. You guys spend some time racking your brain trying to figure out if, in your experiences, anything like that exists. You suspect it might, but no accounts come to mind. The closest that you can possibly imagine right now would probably be something like the new memories that you gained after your encounters with the Aboleth. The possible future, but that's kind of the opposite of what you're looking for here, which is the absorption of memories. But anything of that kind doesn't come to mind at the moment.
Are you guys theorizing out loud?
Sure.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll just kind of pipe up. I'm like, there's definitely ways to get rid of memories, but spells and such.
Does everyone look at Tani at this point?
I definitely glance over. I definitely glance over. I'm trying not to, but I definitely do. But...
So yeah, Tani, you catch maybe a few more glances in your direction than usual during these conversations.
But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we could proceed with caution and try.
We could tell a worthless story. Still ours. Maybe the depancing story. We could forget that. When Barnock was depanced, didn't have.
No, I know what you mean.
I'll tell that story. And if they take it.
But it's a core part of your character now, Barnack. If you were to forget it, you just won't be the same person.
We could forget the dog. but not core.
What?
Well, if we were to forget the story.
Or perhaps we just don't tell stories.
I guess we'll have to at one point.
What are they gonna do? Force
They
us to
might
pay?
suspect that we're onto them, or I don't know.
I'll just tell a story of how I have an idea. And I'll just reach into my bag and take like one piece of rations and just eat it. So one ration and eat it. I'll say, there it is. There's my story of how I ate when I was hungry.
Those are all valid attempts, and it's quite cunning. I just think that if they're interested in stories, they might be looking for more than satisfied a basic need of existence.
That's the best story ever.
Yeah. I mean, we can just go out and try, but
Yeah.
I'm concerned. Why wouldn't have Lord Sordenbrand left if he could? And why does he seemingly not? Why did he not bring his pet inside or his belongings?
Ask him.
Do you think he was acting, maybe? Maybe he does know who Elena is, but he was just like,
Could be.
who? Because it was a stranger voice?
Yeah, I mean, it was just a voice in his head, so certainly that's a possibility.
You know which room is his?
Just
I mean, maybe if it was truly him, I don't. It's not the most powerful of magic, so I guess somebody could have interfered or.
Jean-Jacques, just ask him how long he's been here.
Right? I'll cast my spell again towards the same spot. Say,
Okay.
well, I thought Lady Anna was your wife. Do you know how long you've been here?
It does not arrive. It seems he is no longer in that place.
Okay. Nothing back. Probably moved.
I guess we should go as well.
All right.
I mean, before we go, let me just, and I'll tie my bowstring again and put it over my shoulder. Just so that I have a working bow if something happens.
Okay. So you have a working bow, and what do you guys do next?
I guess
Guess
we
we
go,
should go find him.
yeah, go find him and eat. Actually, that's something that I was thinking about. Let's not eat here or drink here. Let's
That's
just
what
eat
I was
what we
also
have.
thinking.
Yeah, let's eat what we have. And then let's just not. Yeah.
All right. Got an idea for that. Because it would
Okay.
be strange if we didn't want to eat their food or drink their drink. So,
That's true.
just follow my lead, I guess.
Okay.
Okay. I will, before we leave, I will cast protection against evil and good on myself. So I'll protect myself against evil, which gives me advantage on charm effect. And,
Against
right,
which creature? Which type of creature? Is it against
I'll-
all of them?
I think it's. I'll tell you in a moment. Yeah. Hold on. I will paste in chat. Just.
It's protecting against certain types of creatures. Yeah, it's protecting against
Yeah.
aberrations, celestials, elementals, fey,
There it
fiends,
is.
and undead. Okay.
And I cannot be. It's not advantage. I cannot be charmed, frightened,
Yeah.
or possessed by them. Okay. Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
And I'll tell Napoleon. So stay here. Remember, I don't want them to kick you out. So stay here, and you can run. Just run straight out of the room if there's danger for you, and if there's danger for us, you know what I'll do.
okay. Napoleon remains... Oh, actually, no. Napoleon leaves the guard mode So puts the head back right, stands up, and just stands in the corner waiting, looking after you, but otherwise essentially like a statue.
Yeah. I still don't know what this means. We'll see.
Felix is falling asleep on the bed. Do you want to wake him up and take him with you, or leave him there?
Oh yeah, Felix is good. He can talk his way out of anything.
Okay.
Hey Felix,
What?
we're going to get some food and we're going to talk about things and tell stories. You up for it?
I already ate your food like an hour ago.
Shit, I didn't see it. Well, still, do you want to hear some stories?
I'm really comfy though.
I could take one of the pillows.
Now we're talking. Make it the big fluffy one.
Yeah, of course it's a big fluffy one. I'll take the big fluffy pillow.
He lands on it while you're carrying it
Yeah.
and curls up. This is the most spoiled cat in this universe.
Yep.
And as you guys leave, one of the other guests actually, this impossible to tell in terms of age, male elf comes by, saunters by actually, just gives you a nod, and then heads over to one of the other chambers in the place and disappears through the door. All right, so you guys collectively approach the main area, the main common area, and as you do, Navarre looks over and smiles at you, and I'm going to need all of you to make a wisdom saving throw.
Is this against magic?
It is against magic. Barnack, you are not immune to this effect.
Yep.
Okay.
Question: do we see Mr. Sorderbrand anywhere
Ah,
else?
apologies. Yes, he is actually at the bar.
Oh shit.
He's currently sitting there eating.
Okay.
As,
Come on.
As you take sight of him, this is actually what happens as you're making the saving throw. In the air, like before the two figures, appears this large, complicated pattern in the air for a moment. A hypnotic pattern occurs.
Okay, so I see it happening.
Yes, but you don't see who's casting it.
Okay. I need to see the caster, do I?
Yeah.
Pretty much. I mean,
Okay.
you can potentially dispel magic on it later, but
No, I don't.
at the moment...
I actually can't. So that's a
I knew I should
17
have
for me.
spell magic.
Sorry, hold on one second.
16.
Come on.
16, okay.
Yeah.
Let's go. This is my lucky die. So
Okay.
last time this one rolled a natural one. I still believe it's a lucky die.
Okay.
Check something.
I believe in you. Come on. Okay, it's kind of lucky. Let's see.
In roll 20, I saw my dice roll to 2, but then
Oh
20.
shit! I forgot to do something, Kevin.
Nice.
My wisdom save was 19.
Wisdom 19, Wisdom 20, and
18.
Barnack 18.
So minus 23.
Okay, 23.
I rolled 11 on my D100, so
Okay.
Okay.
So as this occurs, nothing much changes. You all see a strange pattern in the air, and then it fades, and then you go on walking. Or perhaps you stop for a moment, wondering what that was. But
I
we'll
don't stop for a moment.
But I was going to say we'll pick it up next week
Oh, okay.
as we respond
No.
to the results of this effect and whatever else you want to do. But you're not in combat, so whatever
Yeah,
happens is up to you guys.
Not in
Stop for a
combat
moment.
yet.
What kind of moment? That will be a huge moment. Stop for a
Yeah.
moment. Everyone's getting an arrow now in their head.
But yeah, Jean-Jacques, I will send you a message on Discord about the result. And
Okay.
thank you guys for playing. I hope you guys enjoyed that as much as I did.
Yes.
I don't like it here.
Oh, but it's so much fun, and you found a bear. You know? It's,
I'm fine with that.
The berry is pretty great.
I will
Yes,
have
you're
that bear as a
welcome.
mount at one point.
We have a bear pet because of us. So
Yes.
you're welcome.
There you go. Well, in any case, thank you guys so much for playing. Thank you guys for watching in the chat. We appreciate you so much. And definitely come and check me out. And, of course, the amazing Rune Keep on Tuesdays at 8... No, not... Wait. Yes, 8 p.m. BST, 9 p.m. CEST. For more awesome stuff that's a little less crazy magic than mine, but still awesome. And then
Still
we'll
very
be back.
crazy though.
It's still pretty crazy. And then we'll be back next week with whatever is going to happen here in this little tavern, and we'll find out then. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later, and bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye everyone.